In this video, we are going to learn how to convert the images in your WordPress website to WebP and AVIF formats. If you convert your images to WebP or AVIF format, those images will be more compressed, and as a result, your site will be faster. So let's get started. As you can see, we have logged into our WordPress website. We're using a starter template from Blocksy called News. So let's visit this site. As you can see that this site has a lot of images. Let's click on one of the blog posts, and here we can see there are some images. Okay, so now let's get back to our dashboard and let's head over to the media section. Now this is one of the images that we saw on our blog post. As you can see that it is JPEG format with a file size of 83 kilobyte. Here is another image which is also JPEG and it's quite large. It's 459 kilobytes. In order to convert all these images to WebP or AVIF format, we are going to use a plugin called CompressX. With CompressX, the AVIF and WebP conversion is performed locally on the web server. CompressX runs entirely on your own server. Your original images never leave your WordPress website. Because CompressX works locally, there are no extra bandwidth costs from an external CDN or optimization API. To install the plugin, we are going to hover our mouse over Plugins and click on Add Plugin. From here, we are going to search for CompressX. And here is the plugin, AVIF WebP Converter by CompressX. You can see that this plugin has over 10,000 active installations. It has a 5 out of 5 star ratings, and it is also compatible with our current version of WordPress. So we're going to click on this Install Now button and wait for the plugin to install. The plugin has been installed, and to activate it, we're going to click on this Activate button. Alright, the plugin has been activated, and you can see that it has been added over here. And once it's activated, you can click over here to view the settings. Now you can see there are a lot of settings over here, and normally you don't have to worry about most of these, but some of these are actually important to know before you convert your images. So you start the process by clicking over here, Start Bulk Processing. But before we click on this button, let's go through some of these settings. The first option is enable it to convert the new uploaded images. If you enable this, CompressX will automatically start to convert new uploaded images to WebP or AVIF format. Make sure to enable this one. The next option is library to process images. Here there are two options, GD and Imagic. Now normally I would suggest to go with Imagic, but in our side we cannot select it. To understand the difference between GD and Imagic, you can hover your mouse over this question mark and it's going to explain it to you. Choose the PHP extension to process images. GD is a PHP extension for handling image optimization. It may be slightly faster at processing large images but supports fewer image formats. Imagic is another image optimization library that supports more image formats and produces higher quality images. So the decision between GD and Imagic is that GD has a slightly faster processing than Imagic, but Imagic supports a higher number of image formats and it also produces higher quality images. For that reason, I always suggest going with Imagic. It also gives us more options to work with. But since our website doesn't support it, we are going with GD. Again, if you click on Check Environment, it's going to lead you to the System Information tab, and there you can see which one is better suited. So let's check the environment. And over here we can see that the GD WebP support, it's true. GD AVIF support, it's false. But for Imagic WebP support and Imagic AVIF format, both are false. In that case, we have to go with the GD. So let's get back to the settings. Since we can only go with GD, so I will leave it selected. Next is the output formats. We are going to select WebP. So from here, as you have seen, the WebP is only supported for our library, so we are selecting WebP. The next option is the compression level. Here you can see there's the lossless, here's a left arrow, a thumbs up, a right arrow, lossy, and custom. Here if you select lossless, there will be least amount of compression. And if you choose lossy, this will have a maximum compression level. So why would you want to select lossless or this left arrow? This is for photographers or anyone who wants to capture the details in their images, but still wants a little bit of compression. So this is for them. But if you do not want detailed images, you can choose this right arrow or lossy. So if we hover a mouse over here, we can see the details. Here it says lossless has a compression level of 99. The left arrow has a compression level of 90. The thumbs up is the default level, which has a compression level of 80. The right arrow has a compression level of 70, and the lossy has a compression level of 60. If you select custom, you can actually set the compression level yourself, but we are going to go with the default one. And on the right hand side, you can see there are some pro features. Since we are using the free version of CompressX, we won't be able to access these features. Now let's scroll down and let's take a look at a few of these general settings. The first one is the browser compatibility. You can either use rewrite rule or use picture tag. By default, rewrite rule will be selected, and I also suggest you go with this. But if you want to use the picture tag instead of the image tag, you can choose this one. In case the .ht access cannot take effect on your server, you can use this one. If we read the rewrite rule over here, it says load WebP and AVIF images by adding rewrite rules to the ht access file. So if the browser supports AVIF images will be loaded, and if the AVIF is not supported, WebP images will be loaded. If both formats are not supported, then the original .jpg and PNG images will be loaded, if any. But in case the .ht access cannot take effect on your server, in that case you can use the picture tag. The next one is the conversion of PNG images. So if PNG images have a transparent background, and if you convert those to WebP or AVIF, the transparency might be lost. In that case, you can check these so those images will not be converted. Again, you can use this if you have an older version of ImageMagick. If we read over here, you can see you may use this option when your image library is ImageMagick 6.x, so the 6th version, which is an older version of ImageMagick. PNG images may lose transparent background when being converted to AVIF with ImageMagick 6x. Then you can choose not to convert PNG to AVIF. A higher ImageMagick version like 7 does not have the issue. So we are going to actually deselect it. Now let's move on to the next option, which is remove the EXIF data. Now this feature is unavailable for the GD conversion method. Since we are using GD, we won't be able to access this feature. But this is actually a good feature. If you select it, it will remove the EXIF data, which will protect your privacy. Sometimes your images record metadata such as geolocation, timestamps, authorship, image summary, etc. So by removing that, it will protect your privacy. But since we're using the GD library, we won't be able to use this feature. If this is something that you want, then using the Imagick is highly recommended. Now, if we scroll down, there's the parameters of processing images. By default, 5 is selected, and I believe leaving it to that is the best choice. This actually indicates how many images will be processed per AJAX cycle. All right. Now, if we scroll down, the next feature is automatic removal of files in output formats larger than the original files. So what will happen is CompressX will find the converted images which are larger than the original. So this rarely happens, but if it does, it's going to delete those images automatically. I'm going to deselect it because we don't want that to be deleted. The next one is the auto resizing large image. If we read over here, it says this option allows you to enter a width and height so large images will be proportionately resized upon upload. For example, if you set 1280 pixels for the width, all images will be resized in the proportion to 1280 pixels in width upon upload. So you can add in your maximum width so that all your images remain proportional. The next option is remove header always set cache control private from .ht access file. If you enable this, it's going to remove the header always set cache control private from htaccess file. The htaccess file refers to the WP content /htaccess. So if we read over here, it says you can try to check this option if the site cannot be cached by Cloudflare. So if your site cannot be cached by Cloudflare, you can enable this. If you are not sure about this one, it's better to leave it with the default selection. Now, if we scroll down over here, we can choose the thumbnail sizes you want to process. Now, there are a couple of options over here, such as original image, thumbnail, medium, large, and if we click on more, there are more sizes here as well. Now, in case you have a lot of images on your site and you want to focus on some of those images, here you can target those images, such as you only want to target the larger images and you want to deselect these images. In that case, you can select or deselect any of these options, but our site doesn't have that many images, so we are going to have this enabled. All right. And we're also going to click on Save Changes and save changes over here as well. So our changes will be saved. And then if we scroll down, we can also see the exclude folder. So it says select folders in the uploads folder and exclude them from processing. So if you want to exclude some folders from processing, you can select it and add it over here. Now let's scroll down. And here is the custom folder. Select custom folders in the WP content folder and process images inside them. Here you can choose a custom folder where you want CompressX to process the images. Now, if you want to delete images generated by CompressX, you can type the text delete over here and click on go. All right. So after you're ready, what you can do is click on start bulk processing, and it's going to actually start compressing all the images on our site. Alright, it says CompressX.io has successfully processed 3.52 megabyte of images and it's completely free. Total optimized images 29, succeeded 29, 0 failed. 100% images have been converted to WebP. Now let's close this up and let's go check out our media library. And here, if we select this image now, you can see that it has been converted to WebP and it's now 61.57 kilobyte. Previously, it was 82.56 kilobyte. So there's a 25.42% compression. Now, if we close this up and load up this image, here we can see that the image was 458 kilobyte. Previously, now it's 310.28 kilobytes, 32.35% compressed. Now, if we load up our site, we can see that our site is a little bit faster. And all are working perfectly. All right, so that is how you can compress all the images on your WordPress website to WebP and AVIF format. Now there's also the CDN integration. If you're using Cloudflare, you can click on CDN integration and add in your Cloudflare email, global API key, zone ID, and then click on Save Changes. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is if you're using the Nginx server, in that case, you might have trouble with CompressX. Here, we are using a Taste WP site, and here it's using an Nginx server, and CompressX already detected it and showing us this message. It says, we've detected that you use Nginx server. Nginx server does not support .htaccess rewrite rules and needs additional configuration to work. For more details, please read this doc. So in case you're using Nginx and you want to use CompressX, you can simply click on this link and it's going to take you to a CompressX documentation. In this documentation, CompressX has discussed step by step how you can configure the Nginx htaccess rules, how you can connect to your server, locate your configuration file, add rewrite rules for CompressX, and then check and remove the existing image rule, add required MIME types, and finally restart Nginx. So this requires a bit of work, but after that you can use CompressX on your WordPress website. So that is how you can convert your images in your WordPress website to WebP or AVIF format. We hope that this was helpful for you. If you found this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more helpful videos such as this one. So thank you for watching. See you next time.